Is there even a typical day? There probably isn't.
There's never one day that's like the day before.
Yeah.
Or one experience or one animal or anything. It's always something different. So I'm definitely kept on my toes on a daily basis for sure. Huge eye-opening experience. We're 6 years later now, by the way, and his name isn't Zeus anymore. It's Mr. Doodoo.
Aw.
He's my foster welcome wagon. He's wonderful.
Amazing.
But it took a lot
now
of
he
work.
can like get along with other dogs.
Perfection.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. That does
Yeah.
take a lot of work.
And so now that won't happen to a family at our shelter. I won't let it happen. We have resources. We are not going to put that on your heart. Our animals are always, dog tested, cat tested if necessary, kid tested, whatever we've got to do to make it the right fit for your family. We don't want to ruin anyone's life with an adoption. We want them to come back and adopt again.
Yeah, absolutely. And dogs are something that all of the shelters in our community and most of the communities across the country struggle with, especially large dogs.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that comes down to behavior.
It does.
So you jumped from training and then you got into the shelter.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Nadine and I started volunteering our time at the shelter to do social programs and to deal with the dogs that were having behavioral issues.
So sorry.
That's okay. And from then they hired me as the outreach coordinator because I was really good at the social media part.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there I was switched to shelter manager when it became necessary. And then when the last director left, they just went ahead and put me in charge because I had kind of learned everyone's job.
What a good idea that was too.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Now I believe that. Then I was terrified.
I bet that's a big thing. Yeah.
It is.
And you have to do like city council stuff and it's
It's been a learning curve.
But again, you're doing great.
Thank you.
So on that, what does a typical day look like for you?
Busy. Very busy.
Is there even a typical day? There probably isn't.
There's never one day that's like the day before.
Yeah.
Or one experience or one animal or anything. It's always something different. So I'm definitely kept on my toes on a daily basis for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of stuff do you do? Like as if somebody didn't know, like if you're like, this is what I do as a shelter director, what would you tell them?
Making sure that we're following protocol, writing the correct protocol, changing those when they're necessary, writing grants because we're always looking for funding for any kind of programs that we have. Any of the life-saving programs have to be funded.
Yeah.
Supporting my staff, making sure animal control has everything they need and any kind of support that they might need. Working in the front office too, answering phones in the door and helping adopters and coaching fosters and then teaching classes to educate the public on, responsible pet ownership or fostering or volunteering or whatever it may be. I feel like as a shelter manager, if you have downtime, you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
I really feel like that because you've got to continuously come up with new ideas and new, just fantastic things to get the community involved and to keep the staff alive and happy and thriving and to keep the animals enriched. You just have to keep moving all the time.
No, that's cool. That like you listed all those things. And I think it's also like it's an exciting, I mean, I know we have different titles, but I think the roles, I'm like, they should call you. I was looking, I'm like, you should be the executive director. But because it's all the fundraising and all that extra stuff. But besides the point, similar roles. And I think like one of the fun things about our type of job is you get to do everything. You get to do a bit of everything. And it's kind of crazy, which is sometimes fun. Like if you're an adrenaline type person, I don't know. Would you consider yourself like adrenaline? Like
I would. I'm driven because the goal is what I love.
That's true too. It's like, and you know that you're making like life-saving impact, and like that's a very true statement. That like life-saving part of it.
Yes, for sure. And a shelter manager / director of happiness.
Oh yes, there you go. Yeah. There you go. That makes sense. That makes sense. Cool. What are some of the biggest challenges you've faced in the role?
I think coming in, I knew that our procedures and things weren't up to standard,
Mhm.
um, standard basics even.
Well, you're still like an evolving organization.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But finding a cohesive plan, you know, just being able to reach out to another shelter and understand their protocols and things, that's been really difficult. Um, I don't think shelters share enough of their programming.
Mhm.
It feels like every time I need to come up with something, I'm having to start right at the bottom, right from square one.
Yeah.
Um, and that's something that I've tried to change with mentoring. I've been sharing my programming like crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and then there's no any rules or any kind of, to keep it at this standard. There's Texas state law,
Yes.
sure, but
I know
there's
what you're
nothing
saying.
that says we should all be doing this the same so that we all
Uh-huh.
understand. Yeah.
What do you think would be some of those things? Because I've kind of thought of that before too, like just like a standards of care, like almost like a hospital or like a
Yeah.
yeah.
Like our intake procedures, those are so
Hmm.
important. Those are everything about being adoptable. Those are everything about being healthy and
Yeah.
happy and all the things. Um, but I know some shelters don't do it the same as us, and that's fine. Um, it's just we had to
Having
develop that by
something
trial
down.
and error.
Yeah.
We had to start from, well, like, I hope this is best, and you can ask your coworkers or people that you meet when you're out networking what
Yeah.
they do, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but there was no plan. I think Helena said on your podcast with her, there's no shelter, there's no rescue
Rescue
Bible,
Bible.
there's no
Yeah.
shelter Bible either
Hmm. There
at
isn't.
all.
Yeah. That's so true. Yeah, the procedures. I think like the other thing too is like maybe looking at certain metrics. Like I do like that you guys don't shy away from like the no kill thing because I do know some that might shy away from it and I do understand why they might. But you guys kind of like lean into like that's something you're proud of, but it's not like that's not the only metric to be proud of, like the
Mm.
adoption rate metric and return to owner and that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
would you agree that maybe looking if like you're looking at shelters and seeing like this one's a good one and this one maybe
I
needs some
wouldn't look at
room.
their numbers.
Really?
I would not,
Really?
because I honestly do not care about that no kill number. At the
Okay.
end of the year, when Kelly does the numbers, and this year she said we were 94%, last year it was 96. I was like,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, great. We did a good job."
Yeah.
Never during the year do we ever look at that number,
Uh-huh.
because we're taking each individual animal specifically and doing what we need to do for them.
Yeah.
And so if that ends up being euthanasia because that's what's best for the animal, that is what it is. So
Yeah.
we might not always make 90. It's just
Okay.
however the
Okay.
cards fall, honestly.
Yeah.
We just don't kill for time or space. That's our rule.
Okay. I can see that. I'm like, really? You don't care about that?
Mm-mm.
Because like I kind of think it shows some sort of like um I don't know, like dedication to that animal as a whole. You're putting as the right resources and stuff in to maintain a certain percent of like life
And we're
saving.
definitely doing the work. It's just not something that I focus on
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
It's great.
What would
It's
you
amazing and I'm proud of it, but
Yeah. Yeah. Well, whatever you're doing, it's working because your numbers fall out that way,
right.
you know? So, what do you do for every animal that comes in to make sure that you're making those like right decisions?
It starts before they even come in. It
Okay.
starts with animal control. It starts out in the field.
Yeah.
It starts at that front counter when people are trying to turn animals in.
Okay.
Our return to owner program is getting better and better and better because we made microchips mandatory in Dickinson.
Yeah.
So every time we can scan them and get them right back home, it's all done, and they never even have to see the shelter.
Okay.
Um,
Are they getting like fines and stuff for that? Like in
they will.
they will?
A lot of times, because we're more about education than citation,
Okay.
we will, if it's a first time offender and their lawn person left the gate open and nothing tragic happened, no one got bit or anything crazy,
Yeah.
we're going to let them have their dog back.
Yeah.
We're going to
What
make sure that they have a microchip and we're going to let them have their dog back.
yeah.
Otherwise, they will get citations for dogs at large.
Yeah.
We also have an ordinance about bitches in heat. So if you have an unspayed female out on the streets, that's
Uh-huh.
more of a ticket. And now you can get citations for microchips too.
Really? I didn't know that. Okay. Okay. That's cool. I think that's probably an important thing, kind of the hand in hand of like you're enforcing, but you're also
For
educating.
sure.
I know for a fact you have some really awesome animal control officers who I'm
I
sure
have
go,
the best.
yeah, like the
The
extra
best job
mile
they
to,
do.
yeah,
And
to do that.
it takes their whole day. And they're working overtime, you know. They kind of never stop. But
Yeah.
if they can get an animal home before they even bring it into the shelter, then we're done. And then the second step is intake. If we do intake the animal, the first thing we're going to do is vaccinate. We're going to deworm. We're going to check them over for any kind of health issues or whatever. I think getting them in the door and just starting them right from the start before they even, get out of the medical wing. Let's go ahead and get you on board with being vaccinated and dewormed and get the fleas off, get a
Yeah.
bath, that kind of thing.
Okay. Cool. So that's kind of step one. You're trying to prevent them from coming in and then, or getting them home,
Yes.
hopefully. So that's step one. And then step two, they come in and you just said the intake protocol of
Right.
getting like everything off. So then what?
So, and then we're going to post them online. We're going to try really hard to find the owners still.
You guys have a really cool lost and found group
page. Yeah.
that's like Dickinson, that's like Bayou. You run it.
Yeah.
How does that work?
We've only had it for like 8 months and it's already got almost 5,000 followers.
Yeah.
So it's going really, really well.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
It's a group or is it a page?
It's a group.
It's a group.
It's
Okay.
a group.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then do you guys post every animal in there or
Every single animal.
okay, yeah. So and then the community can post animals, right?
Yes.
Am I right? Okay.
They can post their own too.
That's cool.
Yeah.
And so how do your officers like make that work, or is it them taking who takes the picture?
They usually do, and both of them have access to post on that group. And I do as well. So we get busy. I start
just like
posting.
whoever can do it, post it. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, keep going. Sorry.
Okay, so intake protocol, and then the next thing
Get
we're
'em
gonna do
home.
is try to find fosters.
Okay.
If we can get a foster to take them before they actually have to be in the shelter,
Yeah.
ultimate goal, right? And
Does
if we
that
can't,
does that happen? Like, are you guys able to do that?
it's hard. That conversation's hard,
Yeah.
especially if they already have pets.
So this is kind of like we were talking about, like more like the Good Samaritan, where the person finding it, you're trying to see if they can
Yes.
foster. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Excuse me. And if they can't, we're also going to ask our other fosters. We have a foster group page too.
Okay, yes. So fostering, you would try to get them into foster with the person who found them.
Yes.
But that's hard to do. But you guys have those cool foster packs.
Yes.
I've seen, because we're kind of like stealing your idea on that.
Yeah,
for our
Petco
own foster packs.
actually donated or gave us a grant, and we decided to focus it all on our foster program, which has grown tremendously in the last year.
Yeah.
I should say. Yeah, that does make it easier. We do supply every single thing for a foster. If it's a crate, if it's blankets, if it's training, like whatever it may be, we can provide it. But a lot of people just don't have the option because they already have animals, and
Yeah.
we do our best to get them into a foster home instead of the shelter, because it's definitely a better environment for the animal.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, cool. And then after foster, you have adoption.
Yes.
Yes.
So after the 3-day hold, of course, then we do heartworm test our animals. We dog test them. We get them into social groups. And now we recently started this thing called Safari.
I saw that. Can you explain that more? I saw that it was very successful.
It was great. So we started the day at 9 a.m. We're going to do it every Sunday. And we start with a class for dog handling.
Okay.
And for dog behavior, and then just basic shelter rules. Every week I promise to provide some sort of training, even if it's just like a little 10-minute, like, behavior or how their poo should look, or just whatever, so that when they're seeing these things out, when they're doing the safari, they can report them back. At the end of the walk, then they get to fill out a report card for the dog that they walked.
Okay.
And I felt like this would make it kind of easier for the staff to see, when the staff is done cleaning, because all of my staff members love to do any kind of enrichment. any kind of training, whatever, but just to be able to see, like, okay, this is where a person that's not us, that the dog knows, this is what they experienced, and this is what an adopter would experience too, and so we
Cool.
should work on that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So the volunteers are they're coming doing training and then they're taking them on their own to go do something.
Yeah, so we have this huge property right next door to the shelter,
Mm-hmm.
and those people were kind enough to grant us access to their grassy lands, and
Nice.
we just have to pick up the poo, and that's fine.
Yeah.
And so yeah, they come in. We teach them how to go into the kennel, leash the dog, bring the dog out to the yard, and then they just gotta get to have a free for all. The only rule is that the dog leads, so that they can have an actual sniffari and they can
Okay.
sniff everything over there.
I see. So the dog's going there. The dog gets to take them wherever they want to
Yeah.
go.
Well, we're also we're doing the gentle corrections
Okay. Yeah. Like
for now.
you don't want them dragging you everywhere.
Right. That's
But
not ever
okay.
going to
Yes.
be
I
okay.
see what you're saying.
Yes. But gentle corrections, we're not trying to teach them how to sit and how to skip and how to speak just yet. Because this is like this last week was their first time out and the dogs were amazed. You
Yeah.
could see when they got to the gate, they were like, this isn't where we're supposed to go. And
Oh,
then they were like, woohoo. And they were rolling in the grass. It was beautiful.
that's
They were so
awesome.
happy.
That's awesome. That's a really good idea because you're teaching leash walking skills. You're getting all the dogs out,
Oh, we were
even the ones
noticing.
that are maybe can't do play groups or something.
Right,
Yeah.
exactly. They're safe. They're on a leash.
Yeah.
And there's different experience levels for the volunteers as well as with the dogs.
Yeah.
So the ones that are harder to handle are going to have a more experienced volunteer to take them out to safari.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Such so awesome.
So we noticed a
These
lot of really great
ideas
dogs are
are like,
scared.
yeah.
When you bring them, because a family will say, "I want to meet this dog," so you bring them this dog. Well, this dog is terrified because it hasn't met anyone for like 2 months.
Yeah.
It's seeing staff, and that's it, and that's all that it's comfortable with.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured,
Sounds like some of my
they get to meet somebody
friends
new every
too.
week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's so okay. Awesome. So I just want to rewind. How do you find such amazing staff that wants to enrich slash have you ever had staff that wasn't that way and like how did you deal with it? I'm asking.
How I have my staff now is an amazing gift from God.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
So, and we've all been through it. I think that at this point we have all trauma bonded. We're all very close.
Yes.
We all have the same goal in mind. And
Yeah.
it's the animals. We're obviously not there for the paycheck because that's not that great.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, you know, that we're there for a paycheck, but it's by far not that. These ladies, I have, it's all women at the shelter now.
Yeah.
And we're all very bonded. And they have an absolute, just overwhelming love for the animals. Anytime they have downtime, that's what they're doing. You'll find them out in the yard with some of the dogs. But
Yeah.
it's never, you know,
And I wonder if you're just attracting that because like that's the like what your organization is going in, you know?
I don't know. And I don't even know. I couldn't say that everyone just comes in that way
Yeah.
until they can see they can be that way.
It's just the culture then, I guess.
Yeah.
That's how yeah.
Yeah, you can open your heart and feel it
Yeah.
at the shelter. Like the dogs need that. And a lot of people don't understand that. They definitely need to be clean and they need to be medicated and all the things. But they need love. They need
Yeah.
affection. They need people that care about them.
Awesome. Okay, I think I've totally lost track. Okay, where are we at with time?
We went off topic.
I know. That's good though. Um What's one moment or story from Bayou that makes you especially proud as like the shelter manager?
I'm just gonna say yes.
You're like,
If
yes.
anybody knows me, I'm a happy crier.
Uh-huh.
I cry. As soon as someone drops the hobby as a happy hat, I'm in tears and I can't stop. So it happens often that I get proud. And it could just be little moments where, you know, a staff taught a dog that came in completely terrified to walk up and get a leash put on. That's a moment. It's
Yeah.
huge. I'm gonna cry. See? Um Stupid.
No.
So I think the one that sticks out as the most recent, because we worked so hard on the foster program, and we worked so hard to make people comfortable in taking animals into their home and loving them and following through. There's a lot expected of our fosters.
Yeah.
You know, they have to follow through with a lot of things. So I was up there at 5:30 in the morning because I was putting animals on a transport for rescue. And before I could leave the parking lot, when I was finished with that, a car pulled up with 13 little puppies inside
Oh
the
my
car.
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And I was there by myself, and I was like, oh, Jesus. And none of them looked good. They
Yeah.
were not healthy puppies. They usually aren't. And it ended up being 3 different litters. Anyway, by the end of that day, we had all of the animals in the system. They all had pictures. They all got defleed. They all got vaccinated if they were old enough. They all got weighed. They all got dewormed. By about noon, I was able to do one post on Facebook. And by the end of the day, I ran out of puppies before I ran out of fosters.
Yes. Amazing.
I almost fell down when the last puppy left.
You said 13.
13.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the smaller ones, we made sure they went with at least, 2, but it was outstanding. And we gained some really great fosters from that day that they've stuck around. They've come back to foster more. So yeah, that's a phenomenal moment for me.
That amazing.
Our
I saw
community
that.
is everything, dude.
I think because you were like, can you? And I was like, I don't know if I can. And then you're like, nope, we got it. We're good.
You're
We
like,
are fosters.
okay.
I was like, all right.
Get it.
All right. Cool. Don't need our help now. That's
I mean,
good.
I'm gonna keep asking probably.
I know, but you guys do like really such a good. Okay. Um What do you think is the biggest misconception about municipal shelters or animal control?
That we're gonna kill them all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we get asked that a lot. People will find a stray, bring it in, and go, "You're not gonna kill it, are you?" And it's enough to break your heart every time you hear that.
Yeah.
But then I'm happy to explain, like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Let me explain to you how the whole process goes so you can tell your friends.
Yeah.
Because that's not how it is. Another huge misconception is that municipal shelters work with jurisdictional lines. Like rescues can take from wherever they like.
Yes.
They can choose where they take from. Dickinson shelter, Bayou Animal Services, we can only service the people that are paying taxes for that shelter, because
Yes, because
that's our baseline funding right there.
and your building and everything.
That's everything.
Yeah.
And so we can only service the citizens of Dickinson, and it's the same for League City and everywhere else that has a municipal shelter.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I think that people get really upset because I know people shelter shop and they want that no-kill shelter.
Yeah.
And that may be a reason why other shelters shy away from that status, because
Yes, I think you're right.
it's harder to get grants. It's harder to get funding, and then people shelter shop and they will dump animals in your town because they don't think they'll get killed.
Yeah.
What they don't understand is if they continue to do that, we won't have that same status.
Right.
We'll be overrun. We are only built and staffed for the amount of citizens that are in Dickinson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that's great. I think those are 2 really good things. And what would you say to another municipal shelter just in general? Let me see. Let me exactly how I phrase this. If you could give advice to another municipal shelter struggling with getting them out alive, what would it be?
Just don't focus on that number.
Okay.
Don't focus on the numbers, because I mean, you can't manipulate the numbers. The numbers are what they are.
Yeah.
You just do your best every day and make a decision for each individual animal and each individual family and each individual situation, because they're all going to be different.
Yeah.
Write protocols where you can.
Protocols.
And on top of the protocols, write guidelines, because there's never going to be 2 same situations ever. Yeah, I just think just don't pay attention to the numbers.
What's your favorite protocol?
My intake, that's the one I'm the most proud of. It really is, because you can see the difference in the shelter. Before we changed it, we weren't vaccinating on intake, and we had kennel cough everywhere.
Yeah.
And then when the vet was like, "No, you could do your policies. You can build your own policies and do it the way that makes sense for your shelter." And I was like, "Oh, well, that's interesting. We've got a lot of work to do then."
Yeah. So who does your intake? Like, Is it your animal control officer? Is it
Any of my staff members can do
all of
intake.
your staff can do intake?
We're such a small staff. We could definitely use more folks, but right now, all of the ladies at the shelter, they can talk to adopters, they can coach fosters, they can teach classes if they wanted.
Yeah.
They can they can all do all the same things. They assist
Yeah.
on animal control calls, they assist with everything. Like, they're down with whatever. We're a team. We do it
Okay.
all together.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody.
So with that, you guys just make sure at the end of the day, everybody's been vaccinated that came in.
Yeah, they just, as soon as they come in the door, they got to get vaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And then the pictures, I think that's another big one, like getting like one good picture and putting it on
It is, and the intake
social
picture is
media.
not always the cutest
Yeah.
picture, but at least we can, recognize the animal.
Yeah.
So yeah, the good pictures come later. And honestly, so our staff, like I said, when they get done with cleaning, they spend time with the animals. So they are building our TikTok, they are building our Instagram and our Facebook and the pictures on Shelter Love and everything. They're doing a lot of that photography.
Yeah.
We do have a couple of volunteers that come in and will come and take some amazing pictures as well. Excuse me, but the staff's out there doing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
They love that part.
Okay, cool.
I love to recognize them on posts too. It's fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you want to recognize some of your staff on here? Is it too many to like say, or
I don't want to oh geez. Kelly, I love you. Kelly is my admin assistant.
Okay.
And without her by my side this whole time, we would not be where we're at.
Yeah.
And then of course Amy and Leah, animal control officers. They're out there kicking butt every day. I'm so proud of them. Leah went from outreach coordinator to animal control, and it wasn't even her choice. It was a budget change.
Yeah.
I couldn't lose her.
I know.
So she became animal control.
Awesome too, yeah.
But she happens to be amazing at that too.
Yeah.
And of course, Amy came in with a lot of experience, a lot of knowledge. And so that's been super helpful with Leah being brand new to animal control. Casey and Letty and Sarah and Julia, they just never stop growing. Like, they're constantly learning something good and something better for the team, and just giving it their all every single day. And I don't know. I love them.
Awesome.
I love all of them.
Cool. Well, let's wrap it up here. So 2 last questions. If funding and resources weren't an issue, what's something you would implement? Like, if you just had unlimited resources, what would you do? Just unlimited resources. Like, what's the one program you'd be like, I would do this?
I think if I could get the citizens the vet care that they needed for their animals.
Okay. Yeah.
That's probably the hardest part for people. It's so expensive. That would make it possible for me to be able to get the spay neuter ordinance approved by city council, which I haven't announced that yet.
Yeah.
I want to do that.
Yeah.
My animal advisory committee is also a bunch of rock stars.
Yeah.
And so they want to move forward with that too. So yeah, I think that vet care for my community would be amazing. Spay neuters, free things.
Yeah. I think that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then how can people support Bayou, and then like your socials, like how people can follow you and stuff?
So on our website, bayouanimalservices.org, has all of our Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. TikTok is so fun. That's where you can see the staff be a little silly. Like,
really?
Be a little less professional in there.
Yes.
Yeah, it's fun.
Okay.
And yeah, and you can always support us just by following and sharing. It costs nothing to share.
Doesn't it?
Yeah. And you can always show up too and come say hi and meet the team. And if you want to be a part of that team and volunteer, we'd be happy to have you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. And you said your social media and all that. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming and for all you do for Dickinson. And you guys are just amazing rock stars.
Thank you for all you do for Dickinson too.
Oh, yeah. Well, we don't have to do a lot most of the time.
Yeah, but you help a lot.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Thank you, everybody. Bye.